Hi, everybody. It's Monday, March 16th, 2015 at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, and this is Admissions Live. Today's topic is communicating with students who are both undecided on which college or university is the right fit for them and undecided about which academic program to pursue. We have a great panel of guests, but before we get to the show, I need to give a few shout-outs to our sponsors that make today's show possible. Admissions Live is part of the Higher Ed Live network, offering viewers direct access to the best and brightest minds in education. Live webcasts allow viewers to share knowledge and participate in discussions around the most important issues in the industry. All episodes of Admissions Live are free and accessible in the video archives at higheredlive.com and in podcast format on iTunes. Higher Ed Live is produced by M. Stoner, a marketing and communications firm that works with education institutions on branding, strategy, web design, and more. Are you winning the mailbox war in higher ed? It's heartbreaking to think that your carefully considered piece will go directly from the mailbox to the recycle bin. This free webinar will focus on strategies for optimizing the outside of your direct mail piece and will showcase do's and don'ts from higher ed and beyond. We're tweeting out a link now where you can find more to register. So look for that. Admissions Live is sponsored by Chegg Enrollment Services, connecting nearly 80% of college-bound students who research schools on the web with the colleges and universities who are trying to reach them. Using an online platform that includes more than 10 of the most popular college search sites online, Chegg can help you save over 90% on the cost of traditional methods for generating your inquiry pool. Email outreach at chegg.com to schedule a free consultation. All things many of us are familiar with. Okay, hi everyone. Today's show is called Decisions, Communicating to Undecided and Undeclared Students. The battlefield for undecided prospective students between now and May 1st, National College Deadline, is fierce. And so today we're going to talk about communicating with these undecided students, some of the challenges behind this, and some of our solutions that we've come up with that have been working. So I just want to introduce myself. Melissa Calder here, Associate Director for Media and Communications at St. Joseph's University. I oversee all of the communication efforts to inquiry and admitted students out of our office, so publications, phone calling campaigns, web content, email, all of those things. And some of my challenges around this topic have been with how are we communicating to undecided students. I get asked that question a lot by my boss and her bosses as well. So it's been a topic that's top of mind this year, and so I wanted to do a show about it. We also have Rose McGovern, Rose McGovern Bouchard, I should say. She's an Assistant Director of Undergraduate Admission at St. Joseph's. And I'll have her say hi to you and talk a little bit about what she does. You there, Rose?
Here we go. Hello?
Hi.
Hi, I was muted. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Good afternoon. Thanks for being here today. I've been working in admissions for just about 9 years now, and one of my favorite type of students to talk to are those that are undecided, whether it be about the school or their actual major. Watching them throughout the entire process, from being a timid senior all the way to being I know what I want to do and this is what I want to study, is quite a transition to watch. And myself included, I was undecided and flipped around a couple of different majors as well, so I feel like I can really relate to these students, and I enjoyed working with them because of that.
Great. Okay, we also have Tom Chu from, he is the Director of Student Success at Nazareth College in Rochester, New York. And Tom, I was told to say the Naz, is that right?
The Naz, it can be, we can be Naz, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, thanks for having me.
Sure.
My perspective is a little different, not being in admission, but once they're here, student success and connecting to students, especially students with so much pressure, and being from NAS, which is a small liberal arts institution, deciding what to do and how to really connect with the institution to succeed is really important. So undecided students are one of those often forgotten or maybe feel like they're marginalized people. So we see a lot of undecided students who feel the pressure of choosing a major.
Yes, great. Okay, and we also have Gina Tomaine, who actually used to work here in admissions with us at St. Joseph's University, but is now representing the English department here at St. Joseph's University. She is a professor of English. Gina, do you want to say hi and tell us a little bit about your interaction with undecided students?
Sure. Hello, everyone. So I see a lot of students in my English classes, and also I've worked in admissions, who are undecided and who kind of feel that pressure that they really need to choose something, and maybe they're not ready to choose something, or they want something, but they think they should do something that's more career-oriented rather than what they're actually interested in. So there's a big struggle, I think, with students coming in, both as freshmen and before they get to college, with trying to figure out exactly what they want. And I can also relate to this because when I was a college student, I came in undecided as well. So I think it's a really interesting topic to tackle, and I'm excited to talk about it today.
Great. Thanks. Yeah, I don't know about everyone else, but one factor for undecided students that may differ from a decided student sometimes does have to deal with the topic of cost in higher education. And cost in higher education is abundant, as we know, and it's even more abundant for those parents and students trying to decide on a college without having a major in mind. So that's another one of the reasons why I wanted to have this conversation and have this show today. And here at St. Joseph's, we're really, like I said, we're really trying to communicate with undecided students with targeted email communications. And we want to talk to them just as much as we talk to our decided finance majors and things like that. And there was really a lacking of a communications plan for these undecided students. And like everyone said, I was an undecided student, so this topic is particularly special to me. And then I decided to be an art major, which a lot of people said, well, what are you going to do with that? And typically students are discouraged from majors such as art or more of the creative majors because people ask, what kind of job are you going to get out of that? So I wouldn't have wanted to be discouraged from being an art major, and I don't want to discourage anyone else from thinking that they have to choose a major before they come into college, and that part of the college journey is deciding on a major. And sometimes it's not about the job that's going to be more lucrative. And what's ironic is that here today with us on our panel, we also have a history major, Rosie, and a creative writing major, and a philosophy and pre-law major. So we are all happy and highly employable people that went back and forth on our majors a few times and didn't always choose the more lucrative major. So I would first want to have everyone talk about the challenges in higher education when speaking with undecided students. Like I said before, sometimes cost is a challenge, just having that discussion with someone choosing a college, and then choosing the college being undecided is sometimes really hard for parents to swallow if it's a more expensive school. So I guess I wanted to kind of talk about that, and also my particular challenge in this area comes from other parts of the university wanting more enrollment in their majors, and history and majors like that are down in enrollment because they are not as popular in the media right now, and that is one of the reasons why our undecided communications plan is so important this year. So let's go to Rose. I have you down first. So what are some of your challenges that you face on the road and talking with prospective students and being undecided?
I think one of the more upfront challenges is dealing with outside expectations. So I can't tell you how many times I've met with a student, whether it be in a meeting or a very quick conversation, where I ask them what they plan on studying or what they would like to study, and their parents respond for them. You know, you could kind of tell the students looking more towards one subject, but mom and dad immediately say accounting or finance, and you can just see in the student's face that that is not what they want to do. And that's sometimes the challenge because, Melissa, like you've been saying with the cost, a lot of the parents are paying for this education, and so they want to say in it. However, it's kind of heartbreaking to see the students follow a major based off of what everyone else thinks they should do. And I think the important part is to remember that you have to consider all factors, but as a student in the end, you're not going to be happy in accounting classes if you find yourself more of a writer or vice versa. And that's the challenge, is sometimes convincing the student to think about themselves first. On another aspect, I think communicating out to undecided students, those who are absolutely undecided, some of the challenge might be missing out on their platforms. So students are more and more likely to cross over disciplines, so maybe major in English and minor in marketing, or follow some sort of other cross-discipline area. And if they're putting more weight on that business major, you neglect to maybe communicate about that arts and science possibility or vice versa. And so they sometimes, unfortunately, slip between the cracks because faculty are talking about their own major, their own specific programs, and they're missing out on those students who could potentially fall into their program just because in the forefront they weren't initially declared in that major. And so we just have to, with the challenges, we just have to remember that, to remind the students it's okay, and that we're advertising platforms for them to find information and for people for them to speak to.
Right. Yeah, it's okay. It's a great message. Mm-hmm. Okay, Gina, do you want to talk about, you know, undecided students that maybe you've seen on the road, or when you see them in your English classes freshman year of college, and what challenges you may face or they face and talk to you about?
Sure. I would agree with Rose 100%. I think there's a lot of outside factors coming in, cost being, I think, probably the largest deciding factor for all of these students who are in close talks with their parents usually, or are trying to see what am I getting out of this degree. And I think that's a huge factor, and you have to be realistic. But I also think with communication with these students, they need to understand that if they are choosing, as Rose said, say accounting, and they don't really want to be an accountant, this is a choice they're making that, you know, they should be choosing to study what they want to study because they will get skills they can actually use later, rather than pursuing a degree to appease their parents, which maybe they don't want to be an accountant, you know, for the rest of their lives. So I think there needs to be communication that deals with you know, maybe making those compromises, such as being a, you know, if someone wants to be an art major and get that marketing minor, or something even, you know, in business, in something else entirely, and realize that there can be a way to make it work for these students. You know, I'll see students that say, one student said to me, I really want to be an English major, but I don't want to be a teacher, so I can't be an English major. And, you know, and because they couldn't think of any other job that they could do with that major. And with that, you know, I just want to say, you know, there's no reason that you need to study interdisciplinary health services if you don't really have a passion for science, just because you think that might yield a better job choice than something like English, because it's not exactly that clear cut, you know. And as we said, all of our majors are completely, you know, they're a wide range, and you can get quite a few different jobs from those majors. It's not a direct path. And I think students often think that this is a direct path and don't really consider that this is going to be the rest of their lives afterwards, and you can't fully know even at that age, I think.
Right. Yes, lots of outlying factors, that's for sure. Tom, do you want to chime in and talk about, you kind of see students while they're in college, but I'm sure you face them coming to you trying to decide on a major a lot.
Yeah, we get a lot of the other end, the students who are here already who either might be struggling or because they're in a major that they really don't enjoy. So they're completely capable students, but they're taking finance classes, for example, because maybe they were pressured into that, and they're doing terribly because they hate finance, you know? And so I get the other end a lot of let's focus on the path. Let's focus on what college really is for most people, and that's the place and the time to discover what you want to do. Most institutions have the general ed requirements that let you experience a few different types of classes before you jump into a major, and that's the letting them know that that's okay, almost giving them permission to say no to some things and really figure out what is available, connecting them to resources, connecting them to other folks who had similar experiences. I talk about my own experience, thinking I was going to be a lawyer, thinking I was going to change the world that way, and then I became an over-involved college student, and I was like, wait, I can get paid to hang out with college students for a living? And then I just, law school went out the window, and higher ed it was for me, but that was for me, and it's very different for everybody. There's so much pressure from home, so much pressure from money and society, and even maybe a roommate who knows what they want to do already and has everything figured out. They can feel a lot of negative pressure that affects how they do in the classes that they are in. So that's where connecting to success and support services is so important for students once they're here.
Mm-hmm. Well said, well said. So I hear with all of us that there's these outside pressures that are challenges that higher education doesn't have much control over. And I wanted to share my screen, and there are many of these reports. One second. So I'm sharing a pay scale. This is from PayScale. There are many of these out there of your choice of major that can have a big impact on your post-graduation earnings. So majors that pay you back. And these are, big, bold headlines that get attention. And this is what the media is putting out there to prospective students. And sometimes this can really convince people. You can see here the top 10 majors by salary potential. Are petroleum engineering, mathematics, engineering is hot, as you can see on this list, physics, computer science. And so I think a lot of parents and students see these lists, think about, return on investment when they're looking at colleges. And so the students do feel a lot of pressure to pick a major that will get them a job that will earn them this large of a salary. So that is a huge outside challenge that we have. Has anyone else seen some lists like this out there?
I've had students bring me lists like that saying, how do I do well in this? They have no interest in computers. They've never done anything with computers, anything with engineering or thought about it, but they see those lists or their parents send them their list, and that's a lot of pressure. How can I get one of these jobs when they've gone their entire life without being interested in that job, and now they're 19 paying a lot of money and they feel like they need to do that. So it's the misconception, and that kind of pressure is huge.
Right.
Engineering is probably the most popular major students are asking for at tables right now.
Yeah.
They all want engineering. A lot of them do.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I completely agree. And when you're on the road and you're talking to students, and when I have been, I found that many of them were asking for engineering or asking for a hot major, had really no idea what it was, or had no authentic interest or understanding of what it would mean to be an engineering major or what it related to. They just knew that was the thing that you should be asking for if you want to make money someday.
We see that on the sciences as well, the medical field, the pre-med, occupational therapy, physical therapy, the big ones that are very, very, very difficult, but students think, even though they haven't taken math or a science class since 10th or 11th grade, that they'll roll right in and become a physical therapist and make $100,000 a year on day 2.
Right. Yeah, so these are challenges that are out of our control a little bit, or are they? How do we change how people are talking about being undecided out there, and what are we doing to change that conversation? I know we have a lot of resources here at St. Joseph's, such as our advising centers, our career development centers, our admissions office. Our counselors are getting better trained on helping to talk about different majors and different options for students based on their interests. There are a lot of personality tests out there that students can take, but what are some things that you all are doing personally to help your students help decide on a major? Anyone?
I know for myself,
Yeah.
when students are they're undecided, I try to narrow it down by asking them what their favorite subject is and kind of take it from there. What do they enjoy learning about? Because that's how they're going to really embrace their education and take advantage. I always recommend taking advantage of the resources that are available to them. I know as a student I went to career development centers. I even went after graduation as well, if those services are available to you after your graduation. It's about trying to narrow it down with first what you enjoy. You have to at some point turn off those distractions that are around you and really focus in on what's available to you and what you can take advantage of at the school you've decided to attend. And also, choosing a school is important too. If you are not interested in the sciences, going to that science tech school probably won't be a good fit for you. So you have to take into consideration your personal enjoyment, and then from there you can really find something that you can focus on for education, and then the jobs will come. You just have to know where to look.
Institutionally, where careers are a huge focus right now, just we want to be a career-ready institution, all those, the big buzzwords, but we're trying to make changes in action to follow up with them. We have a guided exploration of majors program that is for incoming undecided students that is advertised through the admission process, that if you don't know what you want to do, that's okay. Take this class. It is literally, people come in and talk about what jobs you can get for each major. You work with career services to take those personality tests, and it is a helpful day one connection with an advisor, someone in careers that helps students understand that it's okay that they don't know and puts them on a path to help them figure it out.
Yeah, I think individual advising is, a huge help to these students. Many of them, can then explore those options and discuss what they're actually interested in. Kind of, you have to talk to them to get down to the issue of what they're actually looking for. And I think, the messaging can be something like, it is okay to be still exploring those options and looking at, different factors and not 100% sure you want to be in finance or in the sciences, and that you can still get a good job later, and it doesn't solely, it's not solely determined by choosing a lucrative major your first year of freshman year. So I think that's important.
I just want to take a minute and say that you can ask us questions on Twitter using hashtag HigherEdLive, and it looks like we have 15 viewers and climbing, which is awesome. Thank you. Make sure to tweet us questions. We do have a question from Twitter that came in, and the question is, have there been any outreach? Has there been any outreach to collaborate with alumni to show students where degrees may unexpectedly take them? I can answer this a little bit, and I know Rose can certainly answer this because Rose works a lot with our alumni office here at St. Joseph's University. So we have collaborated a lot with career development, and career development actually puts out content online and in print form that talks about where alumni are working and are placed, and that is available to any prospective student looking. So if a prospective student thinks that they want to work for Nestle Chocolate, we have a very strong food marketing program here, they can find that person. They can find that someone is at Nestle online, and then they can actually reach out to our alumni or career development office to get in touch with that person if they want to keep that networking open. I'll toss it over to Rose because she does a lot with our alumni.
Sure. To begin, we invite alumni to almost every event on campus, especially for those for admitted students, whether they be sitting in on a panel, having casual discussions around the lunch table, anything along those lines. We do feel that the alumni are a great service to use when it comes to recruiting the freshman class. We do have alumni that are pretty active in attending college fairs on our behalf. We have some that enjoy making phone calls to students, and when it comes to phone calls or any specific outreach, we sometimes do narrow it down to things like undecided students to sort of give alumni talking points and find some sort of common ground between the student and the alum that is making the phone calls. But I think making sure to make your alum feel present in any admission event is a great place to start. Having those face-to-face conversations can benefit. Working towards possible interviews in the future as well, but for now, including alumni in your admission recruitment is a great way to go. And then to just follow up on kind of what Melissa's speaking about with our outcomes and things, we also reach out to parents for those programs, letting parents know what the outcomes are of professions from graduates from St. Joe's. And so the students may or may not read it. The parents often very much do. And so that's an audience to not forget about as well.
Great. So recently, in an article published in the 2015 Private Colleges and Universities Northeast edition was titled Majors and How to Be Undecided. And a quote from this article by John Boshovin, sorry if I'm butchering your name, talks about continuing education. I'm sorry, he's the continuing education guy at Community High School for Ann Arbor Public Schools. And he talks about the idea that students have to have a major going into college is being pushed to them in high school. And so I know we do a lot of work with guidance counselors as well to, you know, just do recruitment and things like that. But I'm wondering, Gina or Rose, maybe you can chime in, or even you, Tom, if you know any methods that are being used for talking about majors in the high school realm. Anything?
Well, I think it's, you know, it's certainly something that's being discussed even younger and younger. I think students are encouraged to choose schools based on the major that they, you know, want to major in, and they might be really, you know, too young to fully understand what it is they want to major in. So I think these expectations that they will know earlier so that they can be successful, so that they can choose the right school, get the right scholarships, I think that can sometimes be counterproductive in students that don't know. And for the students that do, that's excellent, and they can often find good opportunities by being able to apply for specific scholarships or look at specific programs. But if the student doesn't know, then it can be detrimental because they might feel like something's wrong if they're unable to decide. And it's really not, because there are a lot of options once you get to school, and then you still have those 4 years to take an interest in more than one subject.
Great. Thanks, Gina. So I wanted to talk a little bit about recruiting students, and since that is a major challenge of mine and everyone in admissions, this year we tried a bunch of different things at St. Joseph's. And like I said before, we're working very closely with career development on some extra programming for undecided students during what we call the yield season, the build up to May 1st of students to make their decision. And we have recently added major and career one-on-one sessions at our Admitted Students Day. And we're also going to be trying a career major and career webinar in April that's geared toward parents of admitted students. But everyone will be welcome to view and sign on and see. So our director of career development here is going to be hosting both these sessions at Admitted Students Day and the webinar here. So I'm just wondering what you all think of that, if you think that will be helpful. What are you thinking?
That sounds pretty amazing. Like I said, we're focusing a lot more on getting careers involved in more of our programs, but we're also our admissions office has done a great job at getting more informational departments around at Admitted Students Day. And we're relatively small institution, and knowing what everyone's doing and just having an idea of something like that program is going on, so we can support each other at these events. When student or parents and their incoming students stop and talk to us about what we do in the Center for Student Success, we talk about being the guide. Get them to career services, get them to go back and talk to your admission counselor and ask them questions, and really utilizing all the support available so that they can make a better choice, and that they know once they're here that they're not just out in the ether. There's all these services that can help them when the problems come, because hiccups will come. Like this, the process is different for everyone, and it's okay, and it's a good thing that the process is different for everyone.
It is. It is a process, isn't it? I remember when I was in college, I don't know, the Career Development Center, not too many of my friends went there. I maybe went there once for a mock interview. But I think our Career Development Center is doing a great job of making themselves more present on campus and more seen, more involved. Gina, what about your freshman students? Do you recommend, what kind of resources on campus do you recommend for them?
I definitely encourage them to be considering internships. I think that's a huge factor in students, and they can really find great resources for getting internships through the Career Development Center at St. Joseph's and at most schools. I think with students that are just coming in, they don't really know what they want to do, and then maybe they think they want to be a certain major, and once they're able to actually go and do maybe a summer internship or a part-time one during the school year, I think that that's a huge help in eventually coming to a decision, because they can see if they like the type of work that they're doing. And often you can be, you could be a history major and work for some type of, work for a business or corporation, even if you are a history major, because there's not as much pressure as on an internship program. And I found that some of my friends at St. Joseph's, when I was a student that was a history major, would go on and work for a business because of her internship. I think there's still a lot of help you can do through using the Career Development Center, and then also individual advising, as we said before, because I think having conversations with people that are older, whether they're professionals, counselors, career counselors, or teachers, is a huge help. So I think both of those factors are huge for students.
Agree. Internships are so key, and it's great that you, as a professor, know to tell them that, which is awesome. Okay, I wanted to share my screen again real quickly to show, let me get there, hold on. I wanted to show something that we did that's new this year for St. Joe's, and hold on, my screen, it's not working. It's our new, we have a new Undecided webpage that is all about, it just basically is all about being undecided and lists out all the resources. Hold on one second. No, didn't want to share that one. Sorry. Well, I'll get back to that. But basically, we, sorry, technical difficulty. We have a new web page that lists out a bunch of web content and resources, such as the Career Development Center, the advising centers. We have 2 colleges here at SJU, so there's the Hobbs School of Business Advising Center and the College of Arts and Sciences Advising Center. We also have some blog entries on that web page as well. We have a blog entry from an actual student that came into St. Joe's Undecided and his journey of finding his major. And we have a blog post from our one of our CAS advisors who wrote about, some things that she might talk about to an undecided student in their first year and things like that. So that's one thing that we did this year to help with recruitment of undecided, to show that we support undecided students and things like that. So Why do you think undecided is still a dirty word, and how can we continue to help change this? I mean, I know we're calling a lot of attention to it by, more communications. We actually also sent out letters for the first time this year. We send out letters from our faculty members to every major. So if an Italian student, if a student is majoring in Italian, they will get a letter from a faculty member in Italian talking about the program and essentially trying to heal them. And so undecided students just weren't getting anything because we couldn't decide who should be communicating to them. So this year we had associate deans write letters that went out to those admitted undecided students, talking a little bit about programming and options and first-year seminars and things like that. So we really are trying to make undecided more supported. So let's hear from you guys. Why is it still a dirty word? What can we do to make students feel more comfortable? We're making efforts, but maybe what are some things that other people can do as well?
I think it's a dirty word for the fear of the unknown. And so if you tell somebody, especially an adult who's already out of college, asking you what you're doing, if you tell them you're undecided, it comes across that you are completely clueless or just lost. And that is not necessarily the case at all. You could be undecided but still know what you want to do. You just haven't picked the right major. You know what you want to study. You have many different interests and different disciplines you'd like to follow, but you just haven't officially declared that major. That doesn't mean you don't have a career goal in mind. And so it comes across as clueless and unknown, and I think that's why people are hesitant to be okay with being undecided.
I think that stigma can really, everyone feels like everyone else has it all figured out. And the stigma of not knowing and being undecided, even if I have students who tell me, oh, I don't like my major, I'm going to change it, I just needed to have a major. And we have that conversation, well, you didn't need to have a major, and now you did poorly in this class or that class, and that's on your transcript, let's talk about that. So that stigma, there's a lot of stigmas in higher education. Asking for help, people still struggle with asking for a tutor even if they know they need help, or realizing that how they studied in high school isn't how they need to study in college. And changing those messages that go around, which sounds like St. Joe's is doing, we're really trying to do it here at NAS, of sell the college, sell the support systems. We want people coming here because they feel comfortable here and they know that when these things come up, they're going to be supported. So kind of break that stigma that it's bad by accepting it. Like, it's good. The average college student changes their major twice, so why go through the stress of changing their major when you might be able to spend 2 semesters undecided and figure it out right the first time?
Yeah, at St. Joe's, about 20% around that of the new class that comes in undecided. I'm not sure what it is at Nazareth. Do you know, Tom?
Not right offhand, no.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Great. So we're going to try and make these parents and students feel more comfortable, and then so when they get to Tom, they'll be set, right? That's an admission. Okay, so let's talk about. I'd like to. We have about 5 more minutes, and I'd like to end with us talking about how we chose our majors and what skills do we feel that we got out of it. I am, as I said, I was an art major, and I think that being an art major has made me an incredible problem solver. Being a creative person and having that creative skill set has really helped me deal with problems in a lot better way. So, anyone else?
Go ahead.
Sure. So I came in and I was a student at St. Joseph, and I was undecided completely. I knew I loved to write, and I was also interested in a lot of other things. You know, I kind of liked history. I also liked history. I started taking my general classes and realized I was very interested in writing and literature. but I was also very interested in social problems, which I thought was connected to economics. So I ended up studying English and doing, starting with a minor in economics as well. I took enough courses to get a double major. So by just finding out, I never thought I would be interested in economics, but because I was interested in social issues, I was able to major in both of those and then later go on and study creative writing as a master's program. So it's a lot of things that wouldn't necessarily come together, but those skills make me, were able to give me strong creative skills with my creative writing, as well as strong analytical skills with economics and attention to those social issues. So I think they all kind of came together to be able to give me the skills to both teach writing as well as communicate and work in a problem-solving analytical way as well.
I also attended St. Joe's, if you see a trend here, and I came in undeclared social sciences. Second semester freshman year, I declared political science because I really liked my government classes in high school, and I found myself interested in American government at that time. And eventually, though, I did switch by second semester sophomore year over to history. Part of it was because just was more my style, but in particular, I do remember my political science teacher asking me in front of the entire class if I was Democratic or Republican, and I was 17, 18, I had no idea. So I just kind of knew I wasn't that passionate about politics, but I enjoyed the development, and I enjoyed seeing how things formed together. So it was more the historical side that I was looking towards. I had great support from family, actually, as well, where I did not have that pressure to, you have to declare a certain major to have a job, because my mother was a history major and then became a police officer, and she had an array of different types of positions. So I just knew from experience that you weren't locked into a specific field for employment with your major. And I had the great advice of, and respectfully, your undergraduate degree says that you follow directions and you're responsible and you can work together on projects. Your master's degree really is something that is very specifically needed. And so I just kind of had some casual advice from family and friends, and I took it there, and I chose history, and I enjoyed every second of it. How it ties into what I'm doing now, I think I work I work on the communications team in the admissions office at St. Joseph's. So my writing skills from that program definitely followed through with my career. And somehow in there, marketing found its way with my admissions career. But St. Joe's has good marketing programs too.
I started out as a poli-sci major as well, and found out very early in my first semester that I have absolutely no interest in politics whatsoever. I just thought that's what I needed to do to become a lawyer, which is what I originally wanted to be. And then that led to international relations, which led to a couple philosophy classes, and really where I found what was going to work for me was by getting involved. I was an overactive college student. I was an RA, an orientation leader, admissions, tours. I was a little part of everything. And when I figured that out, like I said earlier, that's really what stuck. And I enjoyed my philosophy classes a lot. I learned, I think, to think better. I learned to communicate my thoughts. I learned to write way better, became a way better writer because of that. And then really, my biggest part of my undergraduate education was dealing with other people, was being involved and figuring out the politics of how colleges work and really the politics of how people work and what my place in that was. And I really enjoyed taking what I was learning in the classroom and like applying it to my day-to-day involvement on a college campus, and then embracing that and taking it to where I am. I've always liked helping people. I've always liked people, and this is a great way to do it, from someone who had no idea what they really wanted to do to talking to other students who for 10 years now whom they might not have known, and I really try to relate with them, relate to them, and let them know that what they're feeling is super common, and the pressure that they're getting from home is very common, and all of these things are really normal, and to just embrace their time at an institution that really does support them.
Great. Great. Yeah, I was a student worker all throughout my 4 years of undergraduate education, and there I don't remember what the percentage is off the top of my head, but there's a high percentage of involved students and student workers who do end up working in higher education. So it's just go to college, work at college, get paid to be at college. Great. Okay. Thanks, everybody. I think to sum it up. Every journey for every student is different, whether from junior in high school to junior in college, and we really need to do a great job of selling the resources that colleges offer to help students make these decisions, and as higher education professionals, we all seem to want to strive to take those pressures off of students of what the media is telling them to do, and that they need to choose their own path and not what anyone else is telling them. And that is really hard to communicate, and that's why it really does seem to take a one-on-one conversation. A great communications plan can help with highlighting these programs and these things, but it really does take personal attention, and there are some universities that do a great job at that, and there are some that may have that challenge of not having enough people to do that. So great conversation. Thank you so much. Just do my little sign off. Thanks as always to our program supporters, M. Stoner and Shag, and I'm Melissa Calder. And tune in tomorrow at noon Eastern Time for Student Affairs Live with Heather Shea Gasser. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye. Thank